You know what the hardest part of sketching in perspective is? Getting the proportions of the room right. I'm James, and I've taught this in my live draw-along workshop for years. If you're curious about how I teach it, you're in the right place. What you're watching here are freehand perspectives I've been preparing before client meetings for over 20 years. This is how I keep design options open, conversations honest, and meetings productive. The looseness is intentional. There's real structure underneath, but the ambiguity lets clients project what they want to see onto the sketches. And this isn't a talent trick. It's a process you can learn. There are a few steps to making perspective sketches like this, and we'll cover them all over the next few weeks. But in this video, we're focusing on the first step, which I call creating the room. That means starting with a scale figure, a horizon line, and the rule of squares to work out the width, height, and depth of the space. So this technique begins with loosely sketching a human figure at the center of your drawing. And you don't have to worry about taking notes because I'm going to include these other videos with the free download. And you can see the principle is the same. Always starting with a figure, always starting with a 5-foot horizon line, and then we'll build out the drawing from there, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And we're going to even add a little bit of a shadow to just make it believable. And then we're going to draw a horizontal line through the human figure's eyes. And that becomes our horizon line. And we're going to call that 5 feet for the purpose of the rest of this exercise. And that 5 feet becomes the first dimension we're going to refer to for the rest of these exercises. But we're going to double that 5 feet and go up to 10 feet, just estimating where 10 feet is, and create a second line. And so now we have a 5-foot and a 10-foot dimension that we can build on through the rest of our exercise. So that's our vertical dimension, but what about the horizontal dimensions? Remember, we have no rulers or no way to judge. So we're going to estimate our first square, and that's where this term, the rule of squares, comes from. So I'll have a line right through the scale figure just for this purpose, and then I'll estimate a square off to the left, and I'll use these diagonals to see if I've gotten close. But it is just an estimate. You're going to get better over time, and 2 squares are going to give me 10 feet. And what if the room isn't 10 feet? What if it's 12.5 feet? Well, then I can take half of one of those 5-foot squares and strike a line out to the left, and half of one of those 5-foot squares and strike a line to the right. And now I have a room that's 15 feet wide. All of this done just by proportional estimates and just by eye. Now, not every room is 10 feet high, so in determining the height, the same thing will apply in that you're going to divide it up proportionally. So let's just do a quick exercise here. We'll draw the same room that we started with, roughly 12.5 feet wide. And then when we get to the height, let's start with 0 and then click on the 5-foot line and then go up to 10 feet again. But now let's subdivide the line from 5 feet to 10 feet into 4 equal spaces or 5 equal spaces, whatever's easiest for you. And that way you can find where 8 feet is or 7 feet or whatever else you need in between 5 and 10 feet. Now this effectively gives us the section cut of the room, the cut that shows us the exact proportions of the room. So when we're designing, we're not making things up. We're being as precise as we can given the freehand nature of this sketch. But what about the depth of the room? And for that, we're going to have to go ahead and commit to a vanishing point somewhere. So I'm going to place it slightly off to the side, maybe a third in from the left. And this is not a bad way to start. And then I'm going to project these lines down to the corners of the section cut, all freehand. Now you could literally use Procreate's feature where you pull a line and keep the tip down, but let's keep with this freehand approach just to show how intuitive it can be and how easy it can be. And once I get those lines starting to project back to the vanishing point, I can begin to construct the back wall of the room. This is going to be a matter of taste, how deep the room is or what kind of a lens you use, whether you're using a wide angle approach or a more telescopic approach. So if I use just this example of that room, right now I could focus and enlarge that and would be more of a telephoto approach to that room, compacting the space from foreground to background. Now, we kind of skirted over the idea of how do you produce the correct depth of the room, because it's not as simple as the section cut. Hi folks, just a quick cut in. I'm James from iPad for Architects. I share practical ways to draw and design on the iPad. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. The depth, you have to kind of guess how far back a square would go. Now, how do you reliably create the depth of that room so it looks realistic to your client? And let's start with the basic principle once again. Now, I'm going to assume that the square I've already drawn back on this right wall is about an 8-foot square. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to extend those parallel lines into the foreground until I see what appears to be another fairly accurate square. And that's going to give me two 8-foot sections of wall, which add up to 16 feet. So I've got a roughly square bedroom, 15 feet wide by 16 feet deep. But what about 2-point perspectives, where not only do you have a vanishing point back into the drawing, but you also have a vanishing point off to the side. So it's no longer that static 1-point perspective looking into a matchbox. Now it's a little more real, a little more like life actually occurs. You're coming into the side of a room and you're seeing these converging lines go off into the distance, way beyond the distance, off the actual sheet of the iPad. So what do you do then? Well, the answer lies once again in a combination of knowledge and practice. So we know these two back walls are going to converge off to a vanishing point at some point, and we don't have a way of establishing where that is if we're doing it completely freehand. So we're just going to fake it. We're going to start the floor line at a gentle slope, and then we'll go up to the 10-foot ceiling height and also draw a gentle slope. And we want those two slopes to be the same. And you're going to be eyeballing this at first. But essentially the physics is that those lines, the top ceiling line and the floor line, will have exactly the same angle because they are symmetrically the same distance from the horizon line. They are both 5 feet from the horizon line. And that means we're going to have a 10-foot tall room once again, but that room is going to be more realistic feeling in a sense, more like we just walked into the room. And once again, we will be using the rule of squares to determine the width of the room and the depth of the room, with one exception. Now you're going to be plotting the squares, but on a slight angle, so they're going to be tilting away from you, so to speak. So they're going to be a little shorter than a square would be if it was completely in elevation to you. But again, this is where the practice comes in. You're going to have to guess approximately what a square would be and then reproduce that square several times to get the width of the room. From there, everything else is the same. You're still going to set up a vanishing point. You're still going to make those parallel lines converge to that vanishing point, and you're still going to estimate where the back wall of your room is, thereby estimating the depth of the entire perspective. But the key takeaway here is that the new converging lines that are going off to the second vanishing point have to be symmetrical around that horizon line, have to be at the same angle if they're the same distance away from that horizon line. Now, one of the paradoxes of 2-point perspective is that you'll often use it for very small rooms, and that's because if you look at small rooms like bathrooms, if you try to do a 1-point perspective, you'll generally need a wide-angle lens, and you'll see a lot of this on Airbnb, where the room feels completely distorted because you've tried to get everything in the picture, whereas if you use a 2-point perspective, you'll get walls converging off to the two different sides, and it allows you to get much more of a skillful vignette of the bathroom, so you can see more without such unsightly distortion. So a 2-point perspective of a very small room will start the same, with the floor and the ceiling lines converging off to the same vanishing point, but then the squares will probably be far fewer. In this case, we're using only about 1.5 squares, or about a 7 to 7'6" wide room. You can see that it becomes much more intimate and much more important to get the proportions right so you can see all of the surfaces of the room. Now, I'm going to clean this up a little bit because there are a lot of guidelines here, and I'm going to move it over just a little bit. But next week we're going to show you how you can fill this up now and still use the proportions and the rule of squares to accurately draw anything inside one of these rooms, including something like a bathroom counter that we're showing in this small bathroom space now. For more practical ways to design and draw on the iPad, you can subscribe below. You'll find a list of the tools I use and the courses I teach in the description, and all of the notes I promised you are available at the free download at the top. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.